Campers. This is the Cleveland Browns Dog Pound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, part of the Fans First Sports Network, brought to you by Hemisphere Coffee. I'm your host, Steve Gill. Well, not really a lot to talk about until the veterans get in on Tuesday, and then the media will be invited in on Wednesday of next week. So there really isn't a lot to talk about right now. I mean, we've all talked about Judkins and his legal problems. I thought he would be signed, and I was wrong. Apparently, the Browns want to wait for this legal process to work a little bit more. So, hey, if that's what they're doing, that's fine by me. We don't know what's going to happen when the NFL investigation. I got a feeling they're waiting for the NFL investigation to conclude. So let's wait and find out. I still can't believe he was the one who got in trouble. No red flags, and you'll hear this a lot. But human beings are strange. I mean, you can get in trouble at the drop of a hat, especially young men with a lot of power and a lot of money coming their way. So, like I said, no red flags at Ole Miss, no red flags at Ohio State. Good family. His mom's an attorney. So he's a smart kid too. It makes no sense. So the big question is now everybody's talking about what's going to happen to the running game, because the new offense, the wide zone offense, the way it works and scores more than 15.2 points a game is the running game has to work. And Kevin Stefanski's offense is based on a strong running game. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. The state school, University of Tennessee, Dylan Sampson was the featured back last year. He ran for almost 1,500 yards and scored a team record. This is a University of Tennessee record, single season record, 22 touchdowns. So yes, he does have a nose for the end zone. And a lot of people will tell you, well, he's too small. And they could have a legitimate claim for him being too small as a receiver coming out of the backfield. But that's what Jerome Ford does. And they've still got Pierre Strong under contract. I think Pierre Strong's still on his rookie deal for $1.18 million. And of course, Jerome Ford reduced his salary to a guaranteed $1.75. So the running back room, I don't see any reason to go out and bring in a free agent unless they struggle during training camp. So we'll have to wait and see on that August 20. I keep saying the August 27th cut down date, and that's very important if you want to fill some needs. So I have, like I said, right now, a lot of people are panicking. I'm not going to panic. The offensive line will be better. Last year, they had a new guy who didn't know what he was doing. Obviously, he left the team early. They got better when Mike Vrabel started coaching the offensive line. So, they're going back. They all love Mike Bloomgren, and he's going to take them back to the wide zone offense, which they're all familiar with, pulling guards, pulling center, and the running game should flourish with the new running back, with the new offensive line coach. Also, he's probably going to bring in the tush push, which I can't wait. I love that. No more, no more end arounds when I'm 4th and 1. That's every Browns fan's favorite play to go, oh, why? But, okay, so remaining free agents. There really isn't that many out there. A lot of people have talked about the wide receiver room being a concern, and now I'm hearing that, and with legitimacy, the safety room could be a little bit better. I mean, you're relying on for the safety room, you're relying on Ronnie Hickman to take the next step, year 3. You brought in a couple veteran free agents. Deontay Akazi, he's going to be competing with Hickman. I love the Rashawn Jenkins signing. This guy can play anywhere. He can play. He's split most of his snaps between strong and free safety. He's even played in the slot about 870 snaps, and he is excellent in coverage. So I have no problem with him. But as we all know, last year, getting turnovers, forcing turnovers, wasn't this safety room's biggest asset. I think Hickman forced a fumble and Delpit forced a fumble, and that was about it. So for this team to get better on defense, they've got to get the turnovers. We saw what happened last year when they didn't get the turnovers. So this team needs to step it up. And still, Justin Simmons is available out there, but the rumor on the street is he's waiting for a contending team to sign with. And right now, the Browns, to him, don't look like a contending team. And, blame him. I mean, they only won 3 games. So they're going to stick with what they got and let it play out. We'll see what happens. Again, August 27th, cut down date. See if somebody valuable shakes loom from another team. As for the wide receivers, the only 2 really good free agents listed, Keenan Allen, and we all know Amari Cooper. Keenan Allen last year was Chicago with a rookie quarterback and not really a good offensive scheme. Still caught 70 passes for 744 yards and 7 touchdowns. He has an injury history, so that's something they're going to have to keep in mind. And Amari Cooper, who we all know in Cleveland, would he come back? He really didn't tear it up in Buffalo last year. 44 catches, 547 yards, and 4 touchdowns. But when he was with the Browns, he had another Pro Bowl season in 2023. 72 catches, over 1,200, I think it was 1,250 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So yeah, do you kick the tires on Amari Cooper? He has lost a step. So, but he loves him some Joe Flacco. All wide receivers should love them some Joe Flacco, and I think that's who's going to be the starter. So let's take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll talk some more. As I mentioned on Thursday night, I wrote an article with a little concern. Fans First Sports Network. It came out Saturday. I wrote a little concern for the wide receiver room. Right now they really don't scare anybody. And you're going to hear, Cedric Tillman, like last year, Cedric Tillman can be that fantasy breakout player, or Jamari Thrash can be that breakout fantasy player, because right now that's all they've got going. The reports have going for them is to talk about fantasy football players. Let's face facts. That's what it is right now, because nothing's going on. I am intrigued by Devontae Johnson. I have heard that he has done everything the coaches have asked of him. He's taken the coaching very well. He is learning the offense extremely well. And he had a nice conversation with Kevin Stefanski. And he told Kevin Stefanski he appreciated the team giving him this opportunity. And he told Kevin Stefanski that he would not let the team down. So going into a season where the offense has to get better, and it has to get better at wide receiver, I like hearing that. I like hearing that this guy appreciates everything the team has done for him. That makes him, it'll make him better. And the team needs to have him better. They need to have him step up and be number 2 behind Jerry Jeudy. Cedric Tillman has shown flashes. We've all seen it, but he can't stay on the field. He can't stay healthy. Jamari Thrash, we still don't know what we have in Jamari Thrash. He showed up healthy and stronger, which is good. David Bell, don't know. Michael Woods, I've heard, is progressing very nicely. He might be the outside chance to be at least wide receiver 3 or 4 to set up on the outside. So right now, the wide receiver room is full of hope, and we just hope somebody steps up in two or three places. Now, the other concern a lot of people have started talking about, and it is a concern, besides 4 out of the 5 offensive linemen being free agent next year, but they drafted and signed players to take their place. We got to find out about who our cornerbacks are going to be. After the top three, it's not really a, how should I put it? There's holes after the top three. After Ward, Greg Newsome, and Martin Emerson. So everybody is fully convinced that Greg Newsome will be traded. How long have we talked about him being traded? I think we went back to last year near the trade deadline when they talked about him being traded. He's a first round pick. Martin Emerson is a second round pick. So the Browns want more for Greg Newsome than they would want for Martin Emerson. But here's a little logic, and I got to thinking about this. You know, I'm all for Martin Emerson re-signing. I like what he did not 2 years ago. He was a top 5 corner. I don't know what happened to him last year. Maybe trying for too many interceptions, maybe missing, which would lead to missed tackles. So my point is, Greg Newsome, yes, he plays in the slot. And yes, they have players who can play in the slot. Nick Needham, guy they just signed. Miles Harden, although he'd probably be better as a backup safety because of his size. And, of course, Cameron Mitchell, who they drafted 2 years ago to replace Greg Newsome. But anytime either Denzel Ward has been injured and couldn't play, which lately has been a few times, and anytime Martin Emerson couldn't play, the first guy that bumps outside is Greg Newsome. So I am more inclined to keep Greg Newsome than I am Martin Emerson. You could get more in trade value for Greg Newsome, but right now nobody's stepping up and offering the Browns anything of substance for a first-round draft pick. Remember, he's a former first round, so they have the right to ask for a nice trade package. They do. But, you know, we have to wait and see in training camp. If injuries happen in the league to corners, there's that possibility that one of them will be traded. I personally, you know, I used to think that Martin Emerson would be better to keep, but right now I am inclined to keep Greg Newsome over Emerson. Like I said, he's the first guy that goes outside when one of the other two starting corners gets hurt. So, and they've got guys who can play in the slot. So I say let's try and keep Greg Newsome. We won't know that. Usually extensions happen before training camp. I don't know what's going on with David Njoku. I haven't heard anything. So, and haven't heard anything about any re-upping of Newsome or Martin Emerson. But they can't go into next season with major holes. So let's see if something gets done during training camp. That would be nice. My money is on Greg Newsome right now and not Martin Emerson. So other than that, the only big news is the new helmet, for those of you who are into uniforms and helmets, will be announced on July 23rd. Yay! I like the look of the white helmet, and I like every time they bring out new unis and new helmets, but I don't live for them. I mean, I grew up with this all my life. So, you know, if you're into that, that's when it happens. Well, next week we should finally start getting some stories that have some kind of substance. Be leery of anybody who writes before Wednesday that they know exactly who is going to start a quarterback, because they don't know. I keep telling people this, and I hope everyone will listen. This front office does not leak. They don't. So if a reporter comes up and says, hey, I'm hearing from somebody in Berea. No, he's not. No, he's not hearing from someone in Berea. Or she is not hearing from someone in Berea. Or they are. They're not. because this front office does not leak. So, can't wait till next week. Get to see the veterans walking in. I love the social media videos of players walking in. Like I said Thursday night, it tells me that football is back. So this has been the Cleveland Browns Dog Pound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, part of the Fans First Sports Network. As always, brought to you by Hemisphere Coffee, where they shake the hands of the farmer. I'm your host, Steve Gill, and I hope everybody has a great Sunday. And I also hope that you look forward to seeing the start of training camp next week. As always, thank you for listening, watching, subscribing, and following. Give us a look over on TikTok. We're trying to build our audience over there. We do short little videos. Appreciate that. And as always, go Browns. We're Browns fans just like you. Go Browns.